Hello everyone, welcome back to another review. So, for those who've been following me for the last 8 years or whatever, will know that there's one Hornby model I've always wanted, forever. And I finally acquired him. It is Spencer. This particular version is the limited production of 1,000 run. So, the only difference between, as far as I know, and correct me if I'm wrong, between this one and the, I believe, 2008 one, is that this one has black handrails and it is DCC ready as shown. Sorry, I kind of messed up Thomas's funnel, but right up there, DCC ready. So. But besides that, I believe it is the exact same besides those two things. So without further ado, let's just get on with this review. I don't want this to be as long as my Scotsman one, so but I don't want to gloss over any details. So this is the 2010 style box. So you got the nitrogen air Thomas, and you got the Hornby locomotive, and as I showed you, it says DCC ready. Right there is the same, and right here it says. And obviously, here's another way you can tell it's a Spencer, and then limited production. And then on the back, I'm not going to remove this sleeve right here, but you got Thomas, he's hiding behind there. And then you got Gordon, James, Percy. I have pretty much all of these. And then it is dated 2011. And just to make sure y'all can read that, there you go. Underneath, as much stuff we don't care about. So let's get them out. So this one actually came brand new. This one wasn't used. It was really, it's an experience getting one of these brand new. It's like Christmas Day when you get one of these brand new. So make sure there's nothing else in there. There's no sun protecting card that you got on your early 2000s models. So no need to cover that, I guess. Then something that makes this one different is it has this. Stepney has something similar, although his was just a straight card, or sorry, a straight piece of plastic. This one is kind of engraved or embroidered or whatever. So you would cut that tape, which I've already done because I have opened Spencer, and you just flip the flat back, and it reveals the locomotive. So I usually just pull them out, but I'm actually going to use, I know, crazy, the holes in the back of the box to push out the tender and engine, because he's a lot more fragile than I would have imagined, so I don't want to mess anything up. I got the tender. Just put this off to one side here. Just put the plastic back. And then Spencer, the actual loco. Great. All right. Smooth that. There we go. Actually, I'll just move this out of shot. So before we get on to that, I'll show you just a quick paperwork. He threw in an extra instruction manual, which is for a ring-filled motor, which is not what this Spencer has. This is for your, I'm going to bring them up later in the video, but I have them here, so I'll just show you. You know, you got your Flying Scotsman, Edward, Gordon, James, Henry. Just here we go. So yeah, y'all have seen this before. This doesn't have to do with Spencer. I just, it was in there. It doesn't come with it, but it was kind of cool that you just included that. So this is what you do get with Spencer, however, is the Class A4 steam locomotive and tender, and this is obviously DCC ready. Mine's not DCC fitted. I don't run DCC. I'm on DC. So, it's really cool that they included it, though, because there are a lot of people who requested that Hornby make them DCC ready, which is why later in 2016, the garbage 2016 models were DCC ready. So, just info about how to open them up and stuff, and the guardrails and everything. Sorry, not the guardrails, the brake rigging. It's a pain to get this open. I haven't opened them yet, so hopefully I won't have to, but if I do, there you go. So, here he is. It's really surreal, kind of like what I said in my Oliver review, I believe. Trying to think. It was either Oliver or Flying Scotsman. It's just really surreal to have this logo. I just need to check something. I might have to open them. I thought that this gear was exposed for lubrication, so that's going to be a pain. Why it's a pain is you have to remove this kind of rod. There's like a rod right here. It's very hard to see where it's aligned. Okay, yeah, you can see it, which your other engines don't have. So, but yeah, I won't give you any history on Spencer. A lot of reviews, and like I felt guilty to this as well. Kind of go into the history. Y'all know who Spencer is, so he's based on a Class A4 Pacific. And before I get started looking at him specifically, I quickly want to show him with Flying Scotsman, because he is an A3, and Gordon, or not Gordon, Spencer, is an A4. So basically, he's a streamlined version, simplest way of putting it. He's a streamlined version of the Flying Scotsman, or in this case, in real life, an A3 locomotive. And I thought that the tenders were identical, so this is actually tender driven, not loco driven. Spencer's loco driven, which is really, really cool. I thought the tenders were the same, and they look identical, like shape-wise. And then I noticed, oh, the coal's a little bit different. And then I noticed they are different. So cool, they didn't just reuse the same mold. But I thought I was onto something, I wasn't. So yeah, I just figured I'd show it off because, you know, some people might not know that they're actually more similar than you might think, because literally it's just a streamlined version of an A3. So, well, I guess we'll look at the face first, because that's very important with Thomas' characters. It's spot on. I really can't say much else about it. It's a really good Spencer face. He has the double chimney, which obviously Spencer only has one, but if I didn't tell you that, you probably wouldn't have noticed that. But I like it because I like the double chimney locos in real life, so I'm not complaining about it personally. Like, I actually really like the double chimneys, but I figured I'd point that out for someone who's like an enthusiast of, you know, like I shouldn't say TV series enthusiast, because you wouldn't really get this if you're a TV series enthusiast, would you? Another thing are the black wheels. Spencer has silver wheels or gray wheels, because he's based off his like season 7 gray look and not the like season 11 silver look. But I don't mind the black wheels. I actually think it looks pretty cool. I just figured again I'd point that out. I'll just put the tender aside real quick. But yeah, he's loco driven. He's very, very heavy, which is nice. He also has sprung buffers, I believe. Him, I know I'm bringing him up again, shut up. Scotsman. Bear, Murdoch. I think that's it. Are the only ones that have sprung buffers. If I get that wrong, someone let me know in the comments. I know you will. But yeah, just a really, it's not essential, but it's just a nice little feature. This is based on the later, I believe, Hornby railroad tooling, so it's a lot more detailed than what you should get in like the 70s or 80s or whatever. You got the Spencer name board. This is obviously Spencer's based on the A4 with the exposed driving wheels. There's not a skirt there, which I like seeing the wheels. But, you know, everyone has their own opinion on that sort of thing. He did not come fitted, oddly enough, with a front coupler. They usually do, and you can usually just remove them. I would have removed it anyway, so pretty cool. Something I want to point out, because nobody's pointed it out, and I need to point this out. This bogie is on a completely different setup than what you would find on like Gordon or Henry or Edward or Scotsman. See, this one has a lot more motion, and I prefer this because going up hills and stuff is pretty easy. I've had to accommodate part of my track to fit Spencer because there's a lot less motion. It's literally a tiny bit of up and down and just left and right. You don't get like a lot of motion with that, unfortunately. Something else I'm not a huge fan of are these unflanged back wheels. You can put on a flange set, but it'll only go around wide curves, not short radius curves. I'm not a huge fan of that because when he's cornering, it just looks a little bit unrealistic, especially if you are tackling tighter curves, because like it's hard to kind of, but see how this should be pivoting, and it annoys me. I don't understand why they couldn't have just made it separate. I know some people were complaining about that there's like distance, you can obviously like the wires, but when you put them down on the track you don't see it. I don't understand why we had to do away with that, but it is what it is. It's really annoying. That's my least favorite thing by far about the model. I just wish this was a separate movable piece, but besides that, I don't really have any gripes about it. There is a bunch of room in the cab, which is extremely nice. You don't just have to put figures on the side, you can put them in here. You also have room on the footplate of the tender, albeit not much, but you got a bunch of room in the cab, which is really, really nice. So you can really get elaborate with your Ben and Bill figures kind of things. The top, you got metal safety valves. Again, the Hornby Thomas locos never cheapen out when it comes to like fine details, like the safety valves and whistles are always made out of like metal, so that's really nice. These handrails are just molded, but these ones are obviously real and very well put together, I might add too. There's brake rigging, which this is a Thomas locomotive, by the way. I think Oliver has it as well, I don't remember. But like this is a very nice detail for a Thomas engine. I mean, a lot of the times people who are professional modelers look over the Thomas stuff, but it's like, you gotta, I mean, this is crazy. Like, this is more detailed than the railroad, like the regular railroad A4s you can buy in their standard range nowadays. Like, Spencer's more detailed than that, and he didn't have to be, so I really like that. But that's something I need to point out, is he's extremely detailed, and I shouldn't say like it's not like extremely, I just mean like the detail he does have is very fragile. Like, you see this broken all the time. Thank God mine isn't. You see this little rod, like that's always snapped off. And like the dummy hook is always snapped off and the whistle's always gone. So you really have to be careful with this. I mean, I'm not saying you can't give it to a child, because obviously, you know, every child is different. You know, you have some that are more delicate with their trains and stuff. I would just as a, I mean, nowadays you wouldn't buy this for a kid, because I don't think anyone's gonna drop like $400 on a Thomas engine for their 3-year-old. But I'm just saying, if you happen to know someone who like has one or something, just be very careful with these. So here's the tender. The tender keeps the 8-wheel configuration, which it should. You got your coal load. There's not as much detail on the tender, but you know, it's to be expected. You still got your separately fitted like brake valves and stuff like that. And you got the corridor tender on the back. This is what kind of led me to believe that they were the same, because I swear these look the exact same on the back, but you know, as we've learned, they're not. I just noticed this. I'm sorry, this was unprepared for. There's a separately fitted handrail above the corridors. I didn't even notice that. It's on Scotsman as well. This is a separate fitted piece. I thought this was molded. This little handrail bit. That's so nice. And then you got your handrails here, your sprung buffers, and this back wheel pivots so you can get around curves and stuff like that. And obviously it goes without saying, but the finish is phenomenal. I love the matte look on these models. It's just something, I can't do the glossy finishes unless it's like a metallic or something. I can't do glossy. I just love the matte. It makes them look so much more professional, and I don't know, I just really like the matte look. So yeah, I mean, me personally, I give Spencer a 10 out of 10. I mean, this is one I've been after for like 8 years. Price wise, you're about in the same boat as Scotsman. I paid about $400, a little under. Let's say 340, I think is what it was roughly. I got it from Rome, so you know, you got import charges and everything. So yeah, like 340. I think Scotsman ran me up 400. So just bear in mind, these rare models, you gotta get them now. It sucks, but it's just the reality. You have to get them now, because the longer you put it off, they're just going to go up in price. And, you know, same thing with Scotsman. It's a good investment, you know, if that's what you want to use it for. I'm not using it like that, but, you know, everyone's different. So here, I'm going to actually run him, not a lot, because my layout is currently being worked on and it's under construction and everything in the meantime. Sorry, I apologize. There you go. But yeah, my layout's kind of under construction at this moment. But I figured we could maybe run them across a straight track or something. That's something else that you're about to see, is this performance is phenomenal. And it could just be because mine is brand new, but I'm going to judge it as such. The performance is really something else. So I'll make sure all the wheels are on. Alright. So here he is, down on the track. Let's see if I can get a... And my rails are filthy, by the way, so if we can get a slow speed out of them. Like, I'm on a DC Bachmann Easy controller with filthy rails. And just look at the slow speed you can get out of this thing. And I'm not even having him at crawling speed because I can't, my rails are dirty. But, I mean, this is something else. I know I said I didn't want this review to be too long, but I really do love this model, so live with it. But I love this. And it's so quiet. He's really, really quiet as well. Let's see if I can... Here, I'll get him to go around this curve here. Okay, I'll just run him up. He doesn't make that much noise. The only sound is really just from the clattering of the wheels. It's not really from the side rods, or sorry, not the side rods, the motor. So you get, I mean, I love how smooth you can get them to go. Very realistic starts and stops. So I was trying to figure out what that noise was. But it's gone away now, so. But yeah, I mean, this is something else. I really do, I mean, that's something. And maybe I'm just used to Thomas models. Maybe this is nothing crazy to people with like thousands and thousands of dollars worth of like models and stuff. Like your, you know, super detailed models or something. But I think, I mean, he runs phenomenally. So, yeah, performance, I give it 10 out of 10. Just bear in mind, I mean, I have some really sharp corners, like that corner in particular. So if you have sharp corners, just bear in mind, don't run on full speed around those, because he doesn't derail every time I run on full speed around those tight corners, but he will every once in a while. So just, like, I run him about 70 on the controller around the whole layout, and it's a very realistic speed, and he does just fine. Yeah, and despite him being really fast in the show, Percy still, for lack of a better terms here, whoops his ass. So, he's about he's about like 4/5 of like Gordon's speed. So if you have a Gordon, just turn him down like 20, like take off like 20% of his like speed on the remote or something. So basically, a better way of putting it is he's just shy of Gordon's speed. So he's not like the fastest or anything, but I don't think they were going for like speed accuracy. I mean, I dig the way the Loco operates and looks. I mean, this is one I've been after for a while. So I will, you know, I will say that I'm being a little bit biased. I'm trying to be as unbiased as I can in the review. I pointed out the flaws and everything. But, you know, this is one I've been after since I was maybe like 10 or 11 years old. So, yeah, it's a joy to have this one. And I'm only about 4 engines away from having the complete Thomas set. So, yeah, thank you all for watching. And I know I'd imagine this review has gone on for quite a bit longer than I thought. But seems like long videos are making a comeback on YouTube. So yeah, thank you all for watching, and I will see y'all in the next review, which will hopefully be pretty soon.